very, very appreciative of that and everything they've done and continue to do for the program. As Jamie alluded to, very good week for us. Offense was lacking in our first week of the season. But we were generating shots and generating opportunities, but not capitalizing, both against Colorado and Dayton. And then to have an offensive explosion like we did the last two games was great for us. Obviously builds a lot of confidence, but goal scoring is also the toughest thing to get going early in the season because there's so many moving parts to creating a goal scoring moment and capitalizing. So I feel like we're in a really good place. We got a lot of players into games the last two games. We got to learn a lot about our depth, what they're capable of, and obviously a lot of them shined not just in their performance but on the stat sheet yesterday.
Yeah, congratulations on the success. You kind of alluded to it when you talk about the buzz of campus. How do you manage, if need be, the potential distractions of all the other things that are going on internally with the program being well, but also with football starting and the campus kind of going back to normal right now too?
I mean, at the end of the day, like these, our players are kids, they're college kids too. And we want to, they're working on a marketing poster blitz right now. So they're out interacting with students on campus. They're trying to nutmeg as many people as they can, and see who can score goals from the student body, carrying around a goal, so having some fun. But and we want to embrace that stuff. It can be challenging, a football game production, being out and about, if it's warm, being at the football game, which our players will be Friday night, can be something to manage, but it's also part of the experience. And I think it's something that builds that sense of Spartan pride even deeper. And the more that our players feel like they have ownership as a Spartan, the better they're always going to perform, the more pride they're going to carry themselves with, and it's great for the whole community.
Jeff, 9-0 is obviously a huge score, and Milwaukee's a program that's been in the tournament. You faced them in the tournament. I'm just wondering how much of that was, a game that gets rolling for you in a certain way, and how much you're able to judge from a performance like that.
Yeah, first, Milwaukee is a very good opponent. I think the stat is 22 of the last 24 NCAA tournaments they've participated in. They've won the Horizon League each of my 4 years here, and they're projected to do the same this year. So to put up that kind of scoreline, I think is even more impressive when you talk about the ability of the opponent. So that's the biggest piece for me, is that Milwaukee, I think, is very, very good. But Graham, both games this week, we scored in the first 5 minutes, and that sets a tone. In our sport, if you can score early and put the pressure on, especially I think the way that NC State and Milwaukee set out in their defensive structure, they saw some of the things that Colorado and Dayton were able to do with a mid-block falling into a low block to make it difficult to score. So when you score early, the game has to open up. Now their game plan's out the window a little bit. And then if you can get a second goal like we did before halftime, you can really get after it when the game's in a big, expansive shape. So scoring again early in the second half, first 5 minutes, Grace Jackson on a great goal. You can kind of feel that the game was going to open it up, and it obviously did.
Goals are so tough to come by in your sport. As I may have mentioned before.
You're a big 0-0 guy.
Yeah. I'll lay off that. My question is, what does 9 goals do for the confidence in your team moving forward, or does it affect it at all?
It's definitely going to give us confidence, because we just didn't capitalize as much in the first week as we should have, and those draws are going to be frustrating. They're both going to be good RPI teams, but those are missed opportunities to generate a high RPI that will be really important come NCAA tournament time. In addition to that, Fred scoring 9 goals and then to have 8 different goal scorers, I think it goes to the depth. When you're not in the first 11 or you're not in the first wave of subs, you wonder kind of where you stack up, and when players come in and perform and they get into the stat sheet as well, it makes everything more competitive. I think it makes everybody have those feel-good vibes. And it's always fun to hit the back of the net. We were fortunate to have an alum, Ava Cook, that plays in the NWSL for Chicago Stars, back yesterday for the game. And one of the things she was telling the girls afterwards is how much they were still celebrating each other and celebrating those moments when it was 7, 8, 9. And I think that's important because they are all hard to score no matter when they come. And when you have young players doing it from your depth, it's going to, I think, kind of keep the whole group going forward.
You're 4 games into the season now?
Yes.
I'm curious, when you look at these first 4 games, What are some things that maybe you learned about this group that you didn't expect at the beginning of the season that you would know by now?
I knew that we'd have, I think this is our most athletic team. It's our quickest, our strongest, fastest when we talk about the physical attributes of it. I knew that we'd have some good depth. I think we're deeper than I even believed at the beginning of the year. And this week really helped us dive into that in match conditions. We only played one exhibition against now a top 5 TCU side. So we only had one audition that we performed really well in. So when you include that in the 5 matches, we put them into some adverse situations, and they've responded really well. So part of that is being healthy, and we got to maintain that health. But when you execute and get results the way we have this week, you can manage their loads a little bit better and deal with some risk aversion.
What's impressed you the most about Kennedy Bell in her first year coming over from being a defender to now being on offense?
I think it's just that, Ian. You know, her time at Maryland was as an outside back the majority of the time, sometimes as a wing back when they would play 3-5-2. And she was always the player we had to scout because she was always a threat to go forward. But really playing up top as a 9 in a paired 9 system is brand new for her. So for her to be capitalizing the way that she is, she's obviously showing her athleticism and her ability to press, both in the game winner against NC State. She generated a 1v1 goal scoring chance early in the game yesterday as well. So as we talk about those athletes, like Kennedy Bell is definitely one of them. But to have the composure to go and score and make plays in the final third for a player that's usually been further from goal, I think we're getting probably more production out of her early than we would have anticipated because of how quickly she's picked things up.
You mentioned the buzz in football this time of year creates a lot of that. I don't think you'd be offended by that.
No, not at all.
How important is it to the whole athletic department that football gets this thing right for everybody?
I mean, there's incredible excitement about it. You know, I mean, I'm a big believer in Coach Smith, what they're doing, the interactions we've had, you know, on a personal level and professional level with him and his staff. You know, being around the guys on the team a bit, the morale seems to be really high at all times, whether that was in the summer months or as you get ready for season. You see them around campus, you see them in their facility. So, I mean, yeah, there's no question football's the very most important thing in the athletic department, and them being successful is of the utmost importance. But there's a lot of belief, and there's a lot of belief not just from us, from the entire coaching staff, but from the athletes and what they're trying to do. And I think what's really important is that I think he's trying to do it what I would consider the right way, with the character of the players in the program, the staff, and the amount of teaching that's going on. So I'm really excited to see what the product looks like on Friday, just like everybody else is. I'll be there. Yeah, just really overall, I'm very excited about it.
Renee Watson's had a great start to the year. How does her versatility, her ability to defend, go forward, take corners, how does that impact the whole 11 night after night?
Renee's another player that's, we're playing, I guess, a little bit out of position with Canada. She typically plays on the wing, like a 3-forward system. Her first 2 years here at Michigan State, she's been a left back almost exclusively. And now she's started all 4 games as a left 8, like a box-to-box midfielder. So again, showing her versatility, her adaptability into playing different roles. She, you know, probably had her biggest stat day of her entire career, whether that was club or country or as a Spartan yesterday with a performance. And that's going to be really important because that's effectively she's playing the position that we lost through graduation to a pro with Justina Gaynor. So for her to step into that role, as we know how integral that is, has been super important and will be going forward.
Jeff, you want to just highlight the Notre Dame game that's coming up, because that's obviously the big.
Sure. Yeah. Next home game is Thursday. We have Buffalo, who's one of the top teams in the MAC. That's off to a great start. So big game Thursday with a potential MAC champion in Buffalo. And then next Thursday, we host Notre Dame, a top 5 opponent. That's, again, off to a great start themselves. That'll be on BTN. We, really hoping that we get the whole Spartan community out. It's our last non-conference game before we start Big Ten play. Obviously, being on national TV in a big spotlight game in the overall college landscape. So we'll hope to see everybody at DeMartin the next couple Thursdays. Thanks all.
Okay, good to go. Always an exciting time of year to get started. Obviously, a lot of work starting in January all the way back, months of trying to improve, right? Bigger, stronger, faster in the weight room, spring ball, summer, all of that. Some definitely adds to the excitement is campus. Students back on campus, everything open up, first day of class. So there's a lot of energy around. I want to thank the fans that came out for Meet the Spartans last Thursday. I thought that was really a meaningful event for our guys to see the appreciation they had, and getting around our fans was big time stuff. Counting on a record-sized student section this coming Friday to add to our energy and creating a home field advantage, and looking forward to that. I think some unique, cool things of the tailgate at Munn Field that's going to take place on Friday. So just a lot going on to add to the excitement of this particular game and this season. I know our guys are ready to go out there with all the work they've put in. Haven't been able to talk about it a ton. We announced captains a while ago, but really proud of those 5 guys that'll represent us. Again, the team vote, the team comes up with this, and I actually did something on the side with the coaches, just kind of get their feel of where they would place it, and they had the same top 5. So that just confirmed to me that Jordan Hall, Aiden Childs, Matt Golbin, Quindarius Dunnigan, and Sam Edwards were the right choices for that. We will do an honorary captain weekly. I've always believed in that in regards to, we got a lot of guys that got votes, felt like they had influence or leadership on the team. Things take place during the year. Guys are doing great things, so we will continue to have that. You'll find out later in the week on who that is for this week. And so, like I said, a lot of work's gone into it, a lot of excitement, and we've got a lot of respect for our first opponent. I mean, Western Michigan coming in here, Coach Taylor does a nice job. You look at his background in 3 seasons, in his third year, got that team playing physical and tough. Obviously, we've been digesting all of their last season, what that thing looks like. We can go all the way to their first game last year at Wisconsin, went toe-to-toe. And so we got a bunch of respect for them. That gets a big-time back who can carry the ball against anybody. Offensively, to make it physical. Defensively, there's a little bit unknown with what that is exactly going to look like schematically, but I know those players play hard and play sound football. So with that, this week just came off the practice field. We're trying to have a big-time week of preparation for a great atmosphere Friday and to play quality football. Questions?
Hey, Jonathan, I'm right over here. Just real quick, do you have any guys, key players you don't expect to play on Friday night, Nakai, kickers, anything like that?
Yep, I think Nakai will be a game time decision. Actually took a few reps today, but that'll be a game time call on him. Tarek is in that same boat in regards to a game time decision. Hadn't been able to do much last week. Toward the end of the week, some. We'll kind of see where that lands with him. Just kind of on the maybe larger name, Jack Vellings looked fine the last, call it, week. Practice today. They anticipate him being able to go out there and go.
And then just is there like the biggest unanswered question that you're waiting to see Friday night, with all the work that you've put in to finally get out there on the field?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at all 3 phases and see what it looks like, right? I mean, you think you implemented some things schematically, and we want to see what that is. I want to see a group respond. I mean, this thing is not a game of perfect. Football's not, and so there's going to be some ups and downs there in how we respond to that. I want to play sound football, clean football, right? Game 1s, you think about, first time in the atmosphere, whether we're talking penalties, mistakes, blown assignments, trying to keep those to a minimum. Because you want to play with some emotion. We talked about all this lead up and how exciting it is, how much work they put into it. But within, you want to be controlling that emotion, be able to execute.
A little tougher parking out there today for the first time, and you mentioned the buzz on campus. Since you just came from practice, was there anything different about today's practice with the game 4 days away and this being game week than any other practice?
You felt a little bit of excitement, energy, because it is game week, and we talked about that this morning team meeting, getting closer, right? And we're practicing on a Monday where we normally wouldn't because we're playing on Friday, so it's moved up a day, and so this is game week. Felt the crispness and asked them to do that, to get in and out of periods and things, because class starts 12:40. They should be in class right now. It's 12:43. We had 50 guys that needed to get to class at 12:40, so we wanted to get them off the field. I know that was a little bit different.
I'm curious, just first off, housekeeping question. If Tarek can't go on Friday, who's going to be the kicker?
Blake will be the kicker if Tarek can't go. Martin's probably a week or two away.
Got it.
Yep.
And then I'm curious, Western Michigan has still had their quarterback battle going on, and I'm curious how that affects you guys with the game prep, just as far as from the digest, how you prepare for it.
Preparing for both. You know, we can look at junior college tape, and we've done some of that. Obviously, there's a little bit of tape of the other one and competition, so we're trying to be prepared for both. Just, again, evaluating. I think both of them have unique skill sets. One of them maybe a little bit more physical, athletic, and run. The other one's throwing the ball for thousands of yards. So we're preparing for both.
Jonathan, not taking anything away from your opponent, I'm actually a Western Michigan Bronco, but is there ever concern about looking past the week one opponent, especially when you got somewhat of a revenge game coming up after that?
I'm not overly concerned. Like I said, these guys are so excited to play. And we do talk about respect, and every time we get to line up, paying respects to whoever we're playing. And how we do that is through our preparation. We said that this morning. I think there's some maturity on this team. And just watching them practice today, there's no signs of, call it, looking forward.
Two things. One, just kind of back with the kickers again. With the early season games, how much of it is maybe trying to, I don't want to say minimize, but make sure that those other two guys, Connington and Ahmed Basic, are healthy for the rest of the year? Does that play into the decision right now?
Well, yeah, we want them healthy to be able to execute the kick. We're not going to put them out there if they're not healthy. We're definitely not overworking them through the week and things. But to be honest with you, Blake has been solid through camp. I think statistically, his numbers, we were talking about it, are similar to the way we were kicking field goals statistically last camp with Kim and all of that. So we've got some confidence in him. And so there comes to a field goal made. If Tarek's good to go, we'll find out on Friday night. If not, Blake can bang it through.
And the second question about the offensive line in particular. I know you spent a lot of time in the offseason talking about getting them up to speed, getting the run game going again, getting the blocking right. When you look at this game, is this I don't want to say a critical game for them, but is it a pivotal game for them to establish all those things that you wanted in your eyes?
We were definitely shooting to play really quality football at the line of scrimmage. So much of our offense starts at the line of scrimmage. I said it before, this is not a game of perfect. I don't expect us to go out there and run whatever it is, 70 snaps of offense, and they're flawless. Like, there's going to be some things. They've got good players over there, all of that. But I won't be shocked if we end up playing more than 5 old linemen in the game. And so some of that rotation going through, and guys have earned that. So it's not going to be perfect, but we're looking to be a physical group that can protect the passer and run the ball.
Coach, can you take us back to a year ago at this time, and what were the feelings for you and the emotion going into that first game, and maybe how it compares to now?
Yeah, I mean, there's some similarities, to be honest with you. There's excitement, the buzz, all of that. School starting at home. There's some similarities there. I do think going into year 2, you're familiar with that feeling, the Spartan walk and what goes through. Obviously more familiar with the current team than we were, just because we've had more time with them and that kind of thing.
Jonathan, 3 good to great Michigan State teams have really struggled with Western Michigan over the years. Is it easier when you're going against a team that this is such a big game for them, that you get them in the opener where you've got that excitement, than maybe get them later?
Yeah, I don't know. I just know our guys are focused in their prep of Western Michigan. This is our first opportunity. We're only guaranteed 12 of those. Obviously, we want to be playing more than 12, but we're only guaranteed 12. That's been our mindset of focus on, these guys are preparation for them. And a lot of that still bleeds into our focus on ourselves, our techniques, our schemes in game ones when you're less certain, right? There's not a bunch of, you're in week 6 and you got 5 games of tape of trusting your rules and focusing on ourselves.
Coach, obviously Kelly and McCray are incoming transfers. How do you think their ability to play will impact the passing game?
Yeah, I look forward to seeing those guys because they got skill set with their speed, route running. I think both of them catch the ball naturally. I think McCray does a nice job interior getting open, whether we're talking option routes, running things off a linebacker. Kelly can take the top off, but he can do some stuff in the interior, a little bit larger frame. I throw Bullard in there. I'm anxious to kind of see what Bullard and Boyd bring to the table. 2 different skill sets there. Bullard, again, can go. Boyd, natural route runner, a little bit larger catching radius to complement, obviously, with Nick Marsh out there.
When I look through your captains, I see a lot of guys who've played a lot of football, prominent positions in this team. Then I look at Sam Edwards as a guy who hasn't had a whole lot of those snaps, and I think has filled a lot of auxiliary roles. So what's it like to see him recognized as a captain with this team and have that honor?
Yeah, it was really happy for him, proud of him, and I was glad because I do think you talk about like kind of a glue guy for the whole operation. Can do multiple things special teams wise, but selfless. You see the looks he gives out at practice. He could go out there in the game and function fine on defense. We just got some guys in front of him. His influence within the locker room is real, and that's why he was the top vote getter we had on the team.
He was the top, like number one, more than Aiden, more than anyone.
Yep.
Wow. You said, starting over my words here, early preseason. You said last Monday you were going to meet with the DBs and sort of break some things down with them in meetings, and I'm curious what you took away from those meetings and what you're entering this week with.
Yeah, they got with their coaches last week because we kind of break camp and then get into season prep. And so when camp ends, everyone sits down with their position coach. So those guys got with that, Coach Adams and Coach Adams, and dissected kind of where they're at, their role, what they can work to improve on. We do think we've got multiple numbers that we can put out there. You play a lot of times, you got 5 DBs out there. Feel like the competition has created some depth, and we need to. We're going to play some good offense starting in week 1 with some talent and speed, and those guys being on the same page is vitally important.
This is a pregame procedural question that may mean nothing, but I noticed last year coming out of the tunnel, you don't lead your team out, unlike every coach I can remember. Is there
I don't know if it's every coach, but yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm talking about my memory. I don't know if it's significant. Is there a reason for that, or is it about the players, or what is that?
I think we want to be player-led around the place. We talk about it, and captains will be out in front. I'm sure there's some of me too, just safety, right, man? I'm not a great athlete anymore. Never could really run that well, get trampled over from behind. No, but I've always believed in the player-led piece, and you'll see the captains up front. You see our strength coach a part of that as well, the amount of time that guy spends with them. That's how we've done it.
Western obviously has a little bit of a question as a quarterback, I guess you could say. When you have the season opener now, and particularly with a team that has that position in particular up in the air, how much different is it maybe prepping in the modern era with all the portal movement versus maybe 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a bit different, not just the quarterback position, but you're tracking down tape from last year wherever they were playing, right? Whether it's junior college or they were back up at a certain spot, and then you look into the skill sets of the perimeter of the running back, receiver, and well, he was at this previous place, and we've got the same thing going on our side. So it's quite a bit different that way, and then you do throw in a new defensive coordinator, so there's some unknowns that come with that. But I will say, even there's going to be some unknowns, even if systems have been in place for 10 years, right? We're always looking at ourselves postseason, self-scouting, want to dabble in some new type of schemes. We're going to show some new stuff on Friday.
Jonathan, I kind of want to ask something along those same lines. 4 or 5 years now into this sort of movement era, is there anything you guys have learned? Week 1, there's always going to be unknowns, like you said, there's always has been, but is there anything you guys have learned that's like, okay, maybe this is less important, this is very important in terms of trying to piece this together with so much movement?
Right.
Or is it just hard work and that's just...
Yeah, it's not always easy. Because you get new players, you can't just sit and assume, oh, well, this guy's played college football 3 or 4 years, he knows these things. Like, we're back to ground level, substitutions, how we're operating on the sideline, timeouts, halftime, where do you go, what kind of adjustments, the communication, signals, like all of that is ground level every year.
Also curious, is there any position groups that you guys as staff sort of look at this game as sort of an extended audition? It's not anything against Western, but just the timing going into from camp to week 1. Is there anything where you're still like, let's see some game reps to sort of keep evaluating?
Yeah, we want to, and we're going to do that kind of really throughout the year. But in this game 1, where position groups are at, there's going to be a few of them that we're going to rotate a decent amount. I already kind of mentioned the O-line. I can see us playing more than 5 guys there. The rush position, maybe a little bit more. Usually it's about a 2-man rotation. You might see more guys there. Secondary, you might see a guy or two besides just 5 guys the entire time. We're going to rotate a receiver just like we do, but we'll probably run 6 receivers out there. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. We'll probably 3 backs, if not 4, but definitely 3. So you're going to see a decent amount, yeah.
You got two sophomore running backs, Brandon and Mackay, who were able to see the field just a little bit last year. What type of skill sets do they have, and what kind of share of the carries do you anticipate to see them get this year?
Yeah, I think with Mackay, Frazier, he getting close to being a complete back. I mean, he can put his foot in the ground, physical, make you miss. Catching the ball out of the backfield, I think he showed some of that during fall camp, and I think that's grown to be a weapon for him. Brandon, physical runner, likes to get downhill and finishes runs. And done well on the protection side. Mackay throw in there as well. So both those guys, we feel I think it's helped with the Tolliver back here. All three of those guys pushing each other. We feel like we get a good skill set back there.
When it is week one, and not everything's going to be perfect, what do you look for out of Aiden and what he's going to look like out there on Friday?
Yeah, I'm going to operate, and trust what he sees and take what they give you, and get us in the right play, and compete. Go out there and he's prepped. He's worked really hard. What around him? Trust the guys around him. Trust what he sees, and then go compete with it. Old quarterback, you're always thinking about the functionality, play clock, correct play, those kind of procedural things that they can control. And want them to do a nice job with that.
Jonathan, you've mentioned Simmons and Collier and also Aiden and Jace. Any other freshmen who impressed you enough you know they're going to be on the field, and do you know what you're doing yet with your kick returners?
Those four, you're talking about true freshmen out the gate. Savory, we'll kind of see how the game goes, still up in the air, and that's the beauty of being able to play 4 games. We want to get those guys in games, whether they end up redshirting or not. So beyond those 4 you listed, Savory would be one. On the punt return, kick return side, I think that's still, Cadillac, Alante Brown on the kickoff return. He's done it before. You probably give us a chance there. Amari Kelly on the punt return side, but Collier's a mix in that. To talk about the conversation, he's a really natural punt returner. Can do it. Butler get some reps there and on kickoff return. Jace will be a part of kickoff return at some point, whether that's in week 1 or not, I don't know. So we've got some options back there.
Jonathan, you had, obviously, when you had Jonathan Kim, you knew the range, you knew everything you had at kicker. And I'm wondering if when you don't know it exactly there, does it affect your red zone decisions, your play calling? Like, I know red zone offense is something you wanted to pick up on anyway. I'm wondering if it changes the way you call a game a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. And just the realities. I mean, with Kim, especially as he got into that year, big old leg, extremely high confidence. Yeah, that changes your approach. You get into the high red zone, we'll call it, 30, 40-yard line, where, in his distance, he had a big leg. And so depending on who's our kicker this week, we'll, call it impact decision-making on play calling on offense. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Long snapper went out kicking. Is Caden back, or Sam or somebody else?
Oh, no, Jack would be the snapper if Caden can't go. That's the same thing. He's getting closer, Caden is, but he hasn't done much in camp, to be honest with you. So I could see Jack being he's totally ready to go on Friday.
Just wanted to ask, it's totally housekeeping, but you mentioned hunting for tape earlier, and I wonder if you guys have a guy on staff who's in charge of that operation, or how do you find this FCS tape, different levels, like who puts it all together?
Yeah, we've got big old staffs on really all 3 phases, and so, the coaches trickle down to assistant position coaches to our quality controls. Those guys chase down most of it, and now this technology Pro Football Focus, Huddle, I mean, you got access to a lot, so it's not that difficult to find. Thanks, guys.